Time to set the grid for the second race of round 3 of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine here at the Hungaroring. If you weren't with us yesterday, then you missed a pretty good race by Hungaroring standards. 6 in a queue, fighting away for P2. But out front, it was the rookie, Martinius Stenchorn, who took his second win of the season. He's been on the podium in all 5 races so far this season, be it as a winner, podium finisher, or rookie winner. He's had 5 rookie wins already and is getting close to the record of rookie wins set by Isaac Hadjar when he took 8 on his way to winning the rookie title in 2021. And he's doing pretty good so far, isn't he? You can see the cars out on track. The sun is shining. Beautiful conditions here at the Hungaroring. My name's Chris McCarthy. It is great to be back calling the action for you. This qualifying practice, which will set the grid for race 2 later. The good thing about the Frecker format is that if you have a bad first day, then you can write it off and go again today. And that was the case for some of the drivers yesterday. Weren't happy with their qualifying performance, but now they get the chance to go again, have another go at it, and get themselves higher up the grid or stay up the grid for the second race. A quick reminder of the format for you, for those of you maybe a little bit new to the championship. The field are split into 2 groups because there's so many of them. 34 drivers here this weekend overall in total. So 2 groups of 17 formed before the weekend starts. Group A has the drivers 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th in the championship and so on. And then Group B has the drivers 2nd, 4th, 6th and 8th in the championship and so on. Those 2 groups are formed. Yesterday, it was Group A who took to the circuit first. Group B followed afterwards. Today, it'll be Group B who goes out first. Group A will follow directly afterwards. 15 minutes on track each. The quickest group at the end of qualifying will form the inside row of the grid. The slower group will form the outside row of the grid. It can be quite a brutal format. Cas Havicourt, for example, was only 18 thousandths away from pole position, and he started 4th on the grid yesterday. That's just how close it was. Roman Belinsky, who you see on screen, he didn't get a last lap in yesterday, and that dropped him from 3rd to 6th. So he went from row 3 on the grid to row 6 on the grid just because he didn't get a last lap in. And that was one of the big talking points after qualifying yesterday. You need to get 1 flying lap in. They're talking around 3 or 4 flying laps. If you don't get that last flying lap in, then you are in danger of dropping yourself 3 to 5 rows down the grid. It was the same for Tim Tramnitz. He was sitting up in 2nd, so looked to be on the 2nd row of the grid, and then he dropped down to 4th place and couldn't move forward from P8 on the grid, unfortunately. Very close it was yesterday. Our pole time from Martinius Stenchorn came on the last lap, and he was actually the last car to cross the line. He told me he only had a second to spare before the checkered flag started waving, so he sneaked across the line just in time. Great tactic from RHGP. 139.604 was the quickest time from him. Santiago Ramos did a 139.977. The second group on circuit yesterday were the quicker group than the first group, so that's something that we will keep in mind when we get to the end of this. So this is Group B. You're seeing on track the likes of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, our winner from yesterday, Martinius Stenchorn, Rafael Camara, Nikhil Bora, Maceo Capietto, Victor Bernier, Alessandro Giusti, podium finisher from last year, Roman Belinsky, Michael Belov as well, who was P4 yesterday, Charlie Wirtz, Owen Tangavelu, Josh Dirksen, Alex Bartashev, Kidal Smile, Niels Kuhlen, Adam Fitzgerald, and the returning Esteban Masson, who was very pleased with how things went yesterday. Well, here we can see the drivers just starting to warm up the tyres now. We did have some penalties yesterday after the race for Victor Bernier, Matthias Zagazzetta, Giovanni Maschio for all jumping the starts as well. So we did see those being investigated, and it was Victor Bernier, Matthias Zagazzetta, and also Giovanni Maschio, who all received 10 seconds penalties post-race. And Victor Bernier, for a separate incident, received a drop of 1 position on the grid. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, for those of you who were watching yesterday and wondered what happened to him, he did suffer an issue with his car. It wasn't two mistakes at turn 1 and turn 12. So if you weren't with us, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, leading the race, came out of turn 1, slowed up and pulled off the circuit, then got going again, did exactly the same thing at turn 12, and he dropped from leading the race to P5. Essentially what happened to him was his car got stuck briefly in 4th gear, and as he was coming out the corner he couldn't shift up, and that happened twice on 1 lap, and then the problem seemed to fix itself. So it was something that the PREMA team were looking into yesterday, and hopefully for his sake all is fixed today. But he did a good job to still keep going and finish in 5th place. So it was a strange incident, but something the guys cleared up. Well, I think that's enough talking, isn't it? Let's focus on qualifying now, because we are getting to the point where the drivers are going to start to set some real big flying laps here. Championship-wise, we'll just go through that very quickly as well. It is Sensation who is leading the championship with 74 points after that win yesterday. Kaz Havercourt second on 68. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who is in this group, along with Sensation, is on 64. Tim Tramnitz is on 62, so 12 points between the top 4. It was 9 yesterday, but it's gone up a little bit today. Here's the Mercedes Junior. Kimi Antonelli had that problem yesterday. Hopefully all is fixed today. Let's see what he can do. He went from 3rd to 1st around the outside at turn 1 yesterday. Was a fantastic move. Now he's on a really good flying lap, it seems, as well. Remember, it's all going to come down to the last lap. Everyone said that last lap is where the lap that is going to put you on the grid. You need to get one in, so we might see a bit of queuing today when we get towards the end of the session, and we could see a lot of changes. Yesterday's qualifying for me was probably the best we've had so far this season, so big expectations from, I'm sure, you, the fans, and myself today as we come down the final corner and make our way down the start-finish straight. Martini Sensation goes across the line and does a 140.796. Here comes Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He goes across the line to P3. Rafa Kamara goes to 2nd place, and we've just had Esteban Masson go to 4th as well. This next lap is going to be the ones where we start to see who is roughly where in proceedings, but currently it is championship leader and rookie and driver who's racing here for the first time. Martini Sensation leading the way on a 140.7, or at least it was Nikhil Bora, who was taken out at turn 1 yesterday, an innocent victim in what was a separate incident. He is now in 1st place, 140.627, so good work by the Trident driver. We're following Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He makes his way out of turn 5. Here we go into the chicane now. Hard on the brakes, taking a bit of curb through there and through the left. You've got to be careful not to run wide there. Very easy to do. The grass meets you very quickly. Now we come through the tight and twisty section of the circuit. One of the drivers referring to it yesterday as a car circuit for single-seaters when you get to this point, because it is just non-stop action on the steering wheel. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli comes out of turn 11 pretty well. Hard on the brakes into 12 we go. Currently 3.5 tenths quicker than his own time, but look at Martini Sensation. He's 6.5 tenths quicker. Also going very quickly is Esteban Masson as well. We pick up Sensation. Let's see where he can go. He makes his way up to the start-finish line. Capietto goes to the top. 140.1 for him, but Martini Sensation going even quicker. It was a 140.2 for Capietto, 140.1 for Sensation, and Rafa Kamara does a 140.099. The PREMA driver now leading the way. Was on the podium in the very first race of the season, hasn't been back there since, so the Brazilian driver will be very keen to get himself on the front row of the grid. But Owen Tangavellu is absolutely flying. Purple 1st sector, purple 2nd sector. Here comes the Trident driver now, round the final corner, pushing to the absolute limit. The Frenchman driving up to the start-finish line, and he goes to the top. 139.926. Nikhil Bora, his teammate, has done a 139.993. Speaking to the Trident team yesterday, they said they didn't get the tactics of qualifying right. They were a little bit frustrated with how things went. So today they said, we're going to fix that and we're going to be fighting for top spots, and they weren't lying at all, were they? Owen Tangavelu is leading, Nikhil Bora in second, Rafa Kamara in third, Roman Bielinski, the third Trident driver, fourth place, 140.136, then Stenshorn, then Antonelli, then Kidal Smau. Here comes Michael Belov though. We haven't seen him so far this session, but I think we're about to see him make an impact now. He comes up to the start-finish line, P4 in the race yesterday, P1 in qualifying so far, 139.887 for Michael Belov. Absolutely fantastic stuff for him. Makes his way to the top. Good to see Michael Belov running so well. He's recently become a citizen of the Republic of Serbia. The Serbian driver now leading the way. Owen Tangavelu in second, Nikhil Bora in third, Rafa Kamara in fourth. Then we've got top rookie so far, Alessandro Giusti, who is teammate to Michael Belov. He's just gone to P5. Then it's Bielinski, then it's Stenshorn, then Antonelli. Then we've got Smau, Capietto, Bernier, Wirtz, Dirksen, Fitzgerald, Kulin, Partashev, and Esteban Masson. They look like they're just on a cool-down lap so far, I'd say, except for the number 10 Ardent Motorsport driver here, Joshua Dirksen, and he's going to be delayed into turn 11. That's going to be a lap aborted, and straight away he's off the throttle. What a shame, because he had gone quicker through the first sector. Adam Fitzgerald has gone quicker than anyone through the first sector. He's not far behind. Will he get delayed in traffic? Just trying to identify exactly where he is. He's going to be approaching turn 12 any second now. From where I am, I can't quite see exactly where he is. We're watching Joshua Dirksen, who's now just slowing up and building up for another flying lap, and he gets the throttle down coming out of the final corner. Let's keep an eye on the green, and there it comes, the green and orange RPM car. Adam Fitzgerald is going to get a good tow down the start-finish straight as well. That puts him to P11. Solid job from the Irishman, Adam Fitzgerald, P11, but I think was probably delayed through that final sector somewhere. Matteo Capietto, he's coming into the final two corners now, currently in P10, but I think that's about to change. Purple first sector, purple second sector as well. Just ahead of him, Martinius Stenshorn is currently P7. He's now P1, but how long will he stay there? In the background, here comes Matteo Capietto now. He goes to the top of the times, 139.537 for Matteo Capietto. The Frenchman doing a superb job on that lap, but it's not over yet. It's down to those last flying laps. Capietto should get one more in. Andrea Kimi Antonelli has just gone to the top now as well, 139.505. Michael Belov has done the fastest first sector of anyone. I did tell you it was going to change all the time with every single lap, and that's exactly what it's doing. This field so condensed. Half a second between the top 9. Less than a second between the top 13. It is so close, and Owen Tangavelu going very quickly as well. This is a time that could put him from P7 to P1. Here he comes, up to the line now. We'll be going on to what will be his last lap. This lap puts him in third place, 139.680. The drivers we need to watch on this lap are Alessandro Giusti, Roman Bielinski, Michael Belov, the quickest of anyone, and we pick him up just in time. Here he comes, up to the final two corners now. Into the left, fighting with the steering wheel, Michael Belov now coming up to the final corner. Roman Bielinski goes up to third place as he goes on to his last lap. Alessandro Giusti yet to come across the line, but just ahead here we see Michael Belov now. He makes his way up to the line. Will this be good enough to put the Serbian on pole? Yes, it does. 139.340 for Michael Belov. We've seen him on pole before. He's done it twice before. Will this be a third pole position for him? We've still got another group to go after this, remember. Who's improving on this lap? Well, Andrea Kimi Antonelli will be no higher than second. I can tell you that. He's slowing down unless he can get across the line and start another flying lap. Roman Bielinski is improving. 0.02 of a second off the first sector we saw from Michael Belov, so the Polish driver going very well. Esteban Masson is improving as well, as is Kirill Smau, so let's see what he can do. Lots of changes could come in. Rafa Kamara takes the flag and is P7. He'll be disappointed with that. Row 7 on the grid it will be for him. Row 8 for Esteban Masson. Just trying to help the team as much as he can. Michael Belov going for another lap to try and defend what will be a provisional pole position. But I'm keeping my eye on Martinius Stenchorn and Roman Bielinski, because those two going very, very quickly on this lap. One a podium finisher here, one a race winner here. Let's see what they can do. Tangavelu comes across the line. P5 for him. Roman Bielinski into the final sector. We're watching, still on screen, Michael Belov. He's going a little bit slower though. Ahead of him up the road is Roman Bielinski, who's coming out the final corner. Here he comes down the start-finish line. Will this put Roman Bielinski in P1? No, but it puts him P2. 1:39.462 for Roman Bielinski. P2 for the time being. We're still waiting to see Martinius Stenchorn across the line, who's done a fastest second sector, and also going very quickly, Matteo Capietto. He's done the fastest first sector. Bielinski, P2 for now. But will he stay there? Will Michael Belov stay in pole position? He's come through pit lane as he wasn't improving. Let's watch first Martinius Stenchorn. Up to the line he comes now. The Norwegian driver is currently P6. Needs a good time here and gets one. 1:39.331 for Martinius Stenchorn. Will it be back-to-back pole positions, or RPM going to be on the front row yet again? They did it with Santiago Ramos yesterday. Matteo Capietto up to the line today, gets P2. Fantastic stuff from Matteo Capietto there. It'll be a road 2 start for him, 4th place at worst. But Martinius Stenchorn once again puts his car on the front row of the grid. Which side he will start, we will find out in about 15 minutes time once we've seen the second group come through and take the checkered flag. But a superb performance from Martinius Stenchorn, the RHGP driver, yet again quickest in his group. Matteo Capietto second in group. Michael Belov will be on the 3rd row of the grid. He'll be a little bit disappointed he didn't improve on that last lap. Roman Bielinski P4, that's a solid result for him. Andrea Kimi Antonelli down in P5. He'll be disappointed with that. We'll have to make some great overtakes like we saw yesterday. Owen Tangavelu P6, Rafa Kamara P7, Esteban Masson P8. Then it was Alessandro Giusti. Nikhil Bora was very quick at the start of the session, seemed to fall away towards the end. Kirill Smell in 11th, Victor Bernier P12, Adam Fitzgerald P13, then Joshua Dirksen, Niels Kuhlen, Charlie Wirtz, and Alex Partashev. 1.5 seconds between the top 16 drivers. Absolutely superb stuff. Martinius Stenchorn, yet again, top of his group. Very cool character. Doesn't really get fazed by being on the front or qualifying sessions like this. When you speak to him before or after a session, he's always incredibly relaxed. And I think that is being proven on circuit. Has been the surprise package of this season so far. Has done an absolutely superb job. And he's in the fight for the championship. He's leading the way in the championship. We're yet to see Cas Havercourt and Tim Tramnitz come out, who are 2nd and 4th. They'll be out in the next group. But he has a good gap over fellow rival Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who will find himself on the 5th row of the grid. Now, we do have some cars under investigation. We have car number 21, which is Kirill Small. We have Adam Fitzgerald under investigation. Andrea Kimi Antonelli is under investigation. And also car 19, which is Esteban Masson for alleged impeding. So that will be linked into post-session. That's not guaranteed that all those cars will receive penalties, but they do, well, they will be looked into. And we had a couple of drivers yesterday being given 2-place grid drops for similar incidents, which was Victor Bernier, no, Matthias Zagazzetta, apologies, and Enzo Scionti. So this will be a provisional result. It always is, but this one certainly will, with those 4 cars under investigation, and we still have 17 to hit the circuit. One of those is going to be a man that was on the podium yesterday, RPM driver Santiago Ramos. Just getting ready to go. So in the next group, we're going to have Tim Tramnitz, who is in the fight for the championship, currently in P4, finished down in 8th place yesterday. Wasn't the best qualifying for him, but it was a damage limitation race. Cas Havercourt did a great overtake round the outside at turn 1 to get himself into 2nd place, around the outside of Santiago Ramos. He said to me yesterday, you know, if I had a bit more time and the gap was a little bit smaller, then maybe I could have gone on the attack. He was very happy with the car he had underneath him and how it performed over the entire race, not just at the start, but he said the tyres were still in good shape towards the end of the race, so he could be one to watch, especially if he gets a good qualifying. We've also got Maya Berg out there, Ferrari Academy driver, as is Rafa Kamara. Lorenzo Flusha in the lower order of the top 10, but was closing in on the battle for third place, which was a great battle to watch, even if there wasn't huge amounts of overtaking. It was the fight, defensive fight between Ramos and Belov that provided us with lots of entertainment. Josh Dufek got a solid result yesterday, P6, just like he did here last year. Santiago Ramos taking his first ever podium. Let's see what the Mexican can do today. Sami Megatunif will be in the 15 car. Said they didn't get things quite right in qualifying, but was happy going in today. Seemed fairly confident when I saw him earlier. Matheus Zagazzetta a bit disappointed with getting a penalty and just a general way things went yesterday, but let's see what he can do today. Delano Bantoff will be in the 17. Marcus Armand had a crash with Lawrence Van Hoopen. He's going to be in the 25, Van Hoopen in the 18. The two ART drivers, the team struggling at the moment, but there is a long season ahead, and ART Grand Prix, they're not champions and vice champions by luck, so let's see what ART can do as the season progresses. And there is Marcus Amanda, Sauber Academy driver. Levente Ravesh, who will have the crowd cheering for him. He's in the 11, the Hungarian driver. We saw Maya Berg. Enzo Scionti is in the 29. Emo Fittipaldi Jr. is out there in the 73. Has really enjoyed working with Esteban Masson and feels he's really starting to find his feet now. He's in the 73. Lucas Medina had that spin coming down to turn 1, which collected Nikhil Bora. He's in the 33. We'll be hoping to make amends today. Giovanni Maschio in the all-red number 99. Tom Leben is in the 5. Said to me that his only real flying lap was his first one, and felt that really affected him for going forwards and his overall result. So let's see if he can come back today. It was quick in practice, so we'll keep an eye on his progress, as we will with all the drivers. Up the hill they come, in towards turn number 4. This is obviously just going to be a warm-up process until we get the flying laps come in, and it did all change at the end in that first one, didn't it? Let's see what they can do. Just getting themselves up to speed now. Going to be a couple of warm-up laps, so mid-39s is what we were looking at time-wise. See, it's all about getting a good track position. It was just looking back, it was a 139. Let's write this down. 139.331 for Martini Estenjon. Got so carried away with the excitement there, I forgot to make a note of it. You'll have to forgive me for that. So 139.331. Essentially, the format now, if they beat that time in this group, then they will be the group that forms the inside row of the grid. It's as simple as that. So not only are they fighting to be on the front row, they're fighting to try and beat that time of a 139.331 set by Martini Estension. There's Matheus Zagazzetta, has improved a lot over the winter, really enjoying his time in RHGP. Got a 5th place finish back at Imola. Always very consistent, always takes the checkered flag very cleanly, and that has continued into this season as well. Every race he's done in Freca, he has taken the checkered flag. We saw similar consistency from Gabriel Bortoletto, and he's doing pretty good in Formula 3 now, as are all the graduates, it has to be said, from Freca. Dominating proceedings, aren't they? It's been fantastic to watch, and that's something that definitely inspires the drivers in Freca. They just know how well those drivers are doing. The championship has been proven to be a great proving ground to learn your craft and get ready to jump into Formula 3. And drivers who do well in this go into Formula 3 and fight for the title and take race wins immediately. And we've got some, of course, in Formula 2, some of the Red Bull Juniors, previous FIA drivers, the likes of Isaac Hadjar and Zane Maloney as well. Been a very successful championship since it begun at the start of 2021. Gregoire Saucy, our champion that year, Dino Beganovic, our champion last year, both getting very good starts to the season and getting themselves in a position where they didn't really need to then go and take any wins. But we've not had a runaway driver so far this season. 12 points between the top four. We are looking at a very interesting battle there, and there's drivers behind who will be keen to bring themselves into that battle. Santiago Ramos put himself up to 5th in the championship. Josh Dufek is there in 6th place as well. Very consistent with his finishes. And then we've got the likes of Rafa Kamara, Lorenzo Flusha, Nikhil Bora, Maceo Capietto as well. Here we go for some flyers then. Lorenzo Flusha on a flying lap here in towards turn 5 he comes. Car looking very well balanced through there, up to the chicane now. Let's see what the Spaniard can do. We'll be hoping to get himself onto the front 2 rows of the grid, I'd say. 36.6 through the first sector. Going very well though is Kaz Havicourt. He's done a 36.5, so he and Lorenzo looking the quickest on this first lap. Also looking quick is Giovanni Maschio, actually. He's done a good first sector himself. So Lorenzo Flusha down towards turn number 12. Spot where we saw plenty of action yesterday. Now into the final 2 corners. Tight line through there, get over to the left-hand side of the circuit, open up that right-hander. And that looked neat and tidy from Lorenzo Flusha. Here he comes onto the start-finish straight. Let's get a benchmark time now. 139.331 is the time to beat 140.3. Only a second away from it and 7.5 minutes to go. That's very encouraging for Lorenzo Flusha and the rest of the field. Kaz Havicourt now making his way up to the line, and he goes to the top, 139.995. Tim Tramnitz just ahead of him, went P2 with a 140.126. Lorenzo Flusha in P3. Levente Ravesh in P4 so far, but that's been beaten now by Marcus Amon, the Sauber Academy driver, going to P4 with a 141.018. However, Santiago Ramos, here he is on screen, absolutely flying. He's beaten the time of Kaz Havicourt through the first and second sector. As long as this sector is good, then we should see him go to the top just like he was yesterday. Started P2 yesterday, can he make it P1 today? Up to the line he comes. Santiago Ramos in the RPM car, gets a 139.677 in the books. That's an absolutely superb time from him. 3/10 away from the time of Stenshorn. Josh Dufek looks to be the man that could beat it though. The Arden driver is on a real flying lap out there. And he goes, let's see, has he come across the line yet? Not quite yet, but Josh Dufek absolutely flying. Here he is, the Van Amersfoort driver, teammate to Kaz Havicourt. Kaz Havicourt currently P2. Will he stay there though? Josh Dufek beats him, 139.806 for Josh Dufek. Great stuff from the Swiss driver. So it's Santiago Ramos who is leading from Dufek, from Havicourt. Van Hoopen jumped up to P4, Tramnitz in P5, but that could all change. Kaz Havicourt is coming through the final corner now, needs to beat a 139.677. Can he do it as he crosses the line? Yes, he can. 139.430. Oh no, that's Santiago Ramos, who was pulled over coming down the hill on the exit of turn 3. The Mexican, his car has stopped. Oh, it gets going again. Well, that's a real sigh of relief for all of us. I mean, we don't want to see someone being forced to jump out of the car. And that would have brought out a red flag, I'm sure, as well. So, thankfully, Santiago Ramos gets going again. I wonder if he'll bring that car in the pit lane or if he will just keep going. But they are 1/10 away exactly from beating the time of the first group. Will Kaz Havicourt be the man to do that? Many had to slow down on that lap because of that yellow flag of Santiago Ramos. someone cool down laps anyway. So it's Havercourt, Ramos, Tramnitz, Dufek, Flusha, Van Hoopen. Maya Verg is doing a great job. She's the top rookie by far. She's in P7. Delano Vanthoff 8th. Sami Megatunov 9th. Levente Ravesh is 10th. No one going quicker on this lap, unsurprisingly, with Santiago Ramos pulling up. He's come through the first sector, so it seems he's running okay now. Fingers crossed that is all the case, and we can see him get a couple more flying laps in, because if he doesn't do the last 4 minutes of this session, he is in danger of dropping out of the top 5. And he's had a lot of bad luck this season. It seems once every race something goes wrong for Santiago Ramos. And I really hope for his sake that he can get back out there and do a couple more laps, but he's crawling back to the pit lane. What a shame for Santiago Ramos, some sort of mechanical issue on that car. Just seeing him come into the pit entrance now, looking out the window, and he's coming down the pit lane. So he's made it back into the pit safely, and we'll keep an eye on whether he gets back out there on circuit. Let's follow how the guys on track are going, though. Tom Leben has just done a personal best first sector, and a very good one as well, 36.6, but that's beaten by Josh Dufek. His is beaten as well by Lawrence Van Hoopen. Tom Leben had a time deleted as well, so he needs to get a quicker time here. It was for track limits through turn 4, which is this corner here. And you can see how easy it is to run wide there. Kaz Havercourt on the absolute limit. 1,000th of a second off his quickest time. Remember, they need to beat the 139.331 set by Martinius Stenchorn if they are to be the inside row of the grid. That's where they want to be. Lorenzo Flusha looks like he could be the man to do it. Here comes the PREMA driver now, through 11 and 12. Will Lorenzo Flusha be the 16th different driver to take a pole position in FRECA? We've not seen him do it. We've seen him have some very good qualifying sessions, but he's never been on pole position. However, he's got tough opponents out there, one of them being this man here, Josh Dufek, currently P6. That looks like it's about to change, and it does. 139.319, and Josh Dufek goes to provisional pole position overall. That beats the time of Stenchorn. Here comes Lorenzo Flusha now, down the start-finish straight, P4 for him, 139.642. What about Kaz Havercourt? He's going very quickly, as is Tim Tramnitz. He goes to P3. Kaz Havercourt goes to second place. We've got improvements coming in from Maya Verg. Matthias Zagazeta goes to 8th. Verg, Ravesh, Amand, all improving out there. Ravesh goes to P9. Let's see what Maya Verg and Marcus Amand can do. Marcus Amand comes across the line now, 10th place for him. There goes Maya Verg past the commentary box window, 8th place for her. Giovanni Maschio is improving as well. We didn't quite see an improvement from Tom Leben, but he's got one more chance to improve. Emo Fittipaldi, Lucas Medina likewise. Luca Medina on a quicker lap this time. There goes Maschio. P13, didn't improve on that lap. They've got to get across the line before the checkered flag starts waving in 90 seconds time. None of the top 6, 7 drivers improving. Santiago Ramos is coming out of the pit lane, by the way, so he might make it across the line, and he has come through the first sector, so we should see Santiago Ramos get one more chance to try and challenge for pole position. Currently in P6, that would put him 11th on the grid. Needs to try and improve. Let's hope the car stays with him and he can get it up there. He's had enough bad luck already this season. We're watching everyone get themselves ready for the final flying lap, and this is where everything could change. All the drivers and team members said to me yesterday, the last flying lap is absolutely critical. You need to get across the line to set it. And we've seen about 8 drivers, 9 make that come across the line so far to start their final flying laps. We're about to see some more as well. So this is going to be a very busy next 2 minutes coming up. Takes about 1 minute 40 seconds to get round. So here comes Tim Tramnitz then across the line. The man 4th in the championship, made a mistake in qualifying yesterday through the second corner on his last lap. That'll be past his mind now. Here he comes out of turn 1. It was coming up here yesterday, he made a mistake, and unfortunately that cost him from being on the second or first row of the grid. Into turn 2 he comes now, wrestling with the car, pushing to the absolute limit there, Tim Tramnitz. now through 3. Flat out they go through there. Let's see what the first sector time is. It needs to be a low 36, really. 36.4, that looks good, but Josh Dufek did a 36.3, and Lorenzo Flusha has done a 36.2. We're watching Tim Tramnitz, but all of the top 5 are improving. Dufek, Havercourt, Tramnitz, Van Hoopen, Flusha, all on absolute flying laps. Here we go, we're watching the number 77, the German driver, Tim Tramnitz. This is Josh Dufek coming into turn 12 now. Lawrence Van Hoopen just ahead of him is on a really good lap as well, so we'll see those two across the line. Sami Megatuniv has gone to P4. Santiago Ramos did come across the line, but didn't manage to get a better time in. He's come into the pit lane. We watch Josh Dufek out the final corner. Here we go across the line. Van Hoopen P4. What can Josh Dufek do? He comes up to the line. He goes P1. 139.003. What a time from Josh Dufek. He's never taken pole position before. Will this be his time? Let's see now across the line, Lorenzo Flusha. Out the final corner he comes. A fantastic first sector. Tim Tramnitz goes P2. Lorenzo Flusha goes P2. Kaz Havercourt to P3. And that looks like that could be it. I think it's going to be a first pole position for Josh Dufek. He'll be the 16th different driver in FIA history to take pole. He's been on the front row before. He did it at Mugello last year in the season finale when he was fighting for the rookie title. This season, he wants to be in the fight for the overall title. 6th in the championship so far. And Josh Dufek for Van Amersfoort Racing has just put the car on pole position with a 139.003. Absolutely superb stuff. What a great time from Lorenzo Flusha as well. Here's confirmation of the result. Josh Dufek, P1 for him. He will start from pole position when we go racing at 4:30 later. Lorenzo Flusha in second. Kaz Havercourt, P3. He made some great overtakes yesterday. Just like yesterday, Tim Tramnitz will start from row 4, this time on the inside. Lawrence Van Hoopen, a much better qualifying for him, puts him in the top 10. Great stuff from the ART driver. Sami Megatuniv once again just outside it. Santiago Ramos with that problem is 7th, but could be one to watch in the race. Delano Vanthoff, P8. Matheus Zagazeta, P9. He'll start from the 9th row of the grid. Maya Verg was the top rookie driver, just behind Levente Revesh. Revesh in 10th, Verg in 11th, Marcus Armand in 12th, Tom Leben in 13th, Enzo Scionti in 14th, and Giovanni Maschio, Emo Fittipaldi Jr., Lucas Medina. Well, there you see Lorenzo Flusha. He was 2.5 tenths back from the time of Josh Dufek. Dufek absolutely nailing that final lap. Superb stuff from the Van Amersfoort driver. We've seen him take a 2nd place finish before. He did that at the Red Bull Ring. We've seen him qualify on the front row before. That was at Mugello last year, but he has never taken a race win. Is this going to be the day for Josh Dufek? Bringing the car into the pit lane now. Van Amersfoort had Kaz Havercourt on the podium yesterday, finishing in 2nd place. Will they go one better today? Well, Josh Dufek has given them the best possible opportunity to do that. Flusha, a much better qualifying for him. He was 10th place yesterday. He will start from P3 today. Kaz Havercourt will be on row 3. Well, that's all. We're going to go racing at 4:30. For now, it's goodbye.